My fiance and father of my child told me all I do is watch YouTube all day, and I feel so unseen. I don't know where to begin. This is going to be a rambling mess, and I apologize in advance. My fiance, M40, and I, F28, are both sick, and some important documents need turned in today. They're his documents from his job and are important insurance info. Eve been looking for the last 2 weeks, but have been trying not to panic about it. I figured they'd appear, but when I started doubting it, I meant to ask him to get them from his employer. But he hasn't been to work for the last 2 workdays, and he is grumpy every time I talk to him. Today I woke up and started moving everything in the house. I admit I was angry and admitted to him that I'm afraid to ask for help because it feels like he's always mad when I do. I can admit I didn't go into it well. The problem is, it does really feel that way. Anytime he has to find something, he starts hollering and grumbling and bitching. He doesn't care if our child is napping. He doesn't care if it disturbs the peace. I returned that energy today, and it wasn't right, but basically, this got us into an argument about my procrastination. How I put my tires off till they blew. I have no money and had told him originally when he offered to get them on credit that we would need at least some money up front, and that he likely wouldn't be approved. Eventually, I told him we could go and try if he was willing. He is mad I didn't take the reins on it to get the ball rolling and that I got a flat last week. We just got child support for the first time ever, and he had intended to save it up for my stepson for his driver's ed and a car later on. He ended up using it on my tires. I feel incredibly guilty for this, but essentially, it kept us on the road. Anyway, he said I chose to put this off and that all he sees me do is watch YouTube all day. I'm genuinely hurt by this. I know I started this fight, but I know it is what he really believes, based on underhanded comments he said in the past. I.e., it's such a mess. There's nowhere to put anything. Why is it such a mess? We have a small home, a small kitchen. If I don't do the dishes immediately after one meal, there isn't any space. Same with the laundry. I feel so miffed and disrespected. I make all the appointments, take our child to baby and toddler events. I file all the documents because he refuses to / says he can't. I used to do his taxes until last year when I refused. When I miss something like this insurance PPW, it's all on me to solve it. He won't look in the cabinet for anything, and he won't put anything into it. I'm trying to cook more, clean more. I do all the baths and most of the general care for our almost 1.5-year-old minus evenings when I work, and it's clear how inconvenient it is for him. I'm monitoring his supplements, stressing over the contents of his meals, asking my stepson about his grades, and am always the one asked about permission for events and outings. I work part-time in the evenings 4 days a week. He works full-time and pays most of the bills. I try not to bother him with asking for help with cleaning. I keep the laundry moving but admit I am bad about folding, and I no longer put his away when I do. Am I that bad or that lazy? I do put on YouTube for news, cleaning vids, gossip channels, and educational videos, but it is usually with my coffee first thing in the AM, then before work. Sometimes for background noise. Should the house be immaculate all the time? Is that realistic? How do PPL manage it all? I'm trying to manage the debt I have. I'm trying to socialize my child and not fall into depression. I feel like, what's the point? I'm tempted to toss all my stuff. He pointed at my mother's cookie jar and my plant on the table, saying that's why the table's littered with junk and mail and why it piles up. Meanwhile, the cookie jar holds all his many extra safety glasses and sunglasses. I feel like Eve purged a lot and it's still too busy here. I've even gotten rid of many of my books. This feels so small yet so detrimental. I don't know how to move forward from this. Do I try harder? Do I ask him to get a part-time job so I can quit mine and then he'll pour my being into this role properly? Do I give up on this idea completely and get a job that's trackable and easier to acknowledge? Do I find a full-time job and a sitter? And we can have everything including doc appointments and chores? What do I even say or do to deal with this? It's worth noting, we are barely intimate. That's mostly on me. I feel unattractive, unattracted, emotionally disconnected, and put off, not to mention just finding the time. I realized a while back that he hardly ever compliments me on looks, personality, on what I am doing as a parent, except when it comes to teaching the baby ASL and practicing phonics with him. I'm still breastfeeding and looking to wean, but it's hard, and I think my partner is resentful that I still am. I really don't know. Has anyone else been in a similar place? I genuinely am at a loss. Thanks from a newish mom, feeling unappreciated and gross.